Imagine a life where you wake up each day filled with a sense of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. You feel ready to face whatever challenges come your way, with inner tranquility and a resilient spirit. Such a life is not a distant dream, but can be a reality when we start letting go of harmful habits that hold us back from living in accordance with Stoic principles. Stoicism is a philosophy that teaches us to live in harmony with nature, embrace the inevitability of change, and cultivate virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. It emphasizes the power of our thoughts and choices in shaping our destiny. By developing good habits and eliminating bad ones, we can foster a life of wisdom, tranquility, and virtue. As Epictetus famously said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This video will guide you through 10 behaviors that go against Stoic principles, habits that, if left unchecked, can hinder your personal growth, damage your relationships, and lead to unnecessary suffering. Eliminating these behaviors from your life will bring you closer to the ideal of Stoic serenity and inner strength. Before we begin, I invite you to make a commitment to yourself right now. Stay focused and watch this video to the end. You have the power to change your mindset and shape your destiny. As you listen to each point, reflect on how it applies to your life and be open to making small but meaningful changes. Remember, small beginnings can lead to great endings. Let us now explore these 10 anti-Stoic behaviors one by one, beginning with a habit that many struggle with: rumination. 1. Rumination. Break free from the cycle of overthinking. Are you often caught in a loop of revisiting past mistakes or worrying about the future? Do these thoughts prevent you from enjoying life in the present moment? Rumination, or the act of obsessively thinking about past events or potential future problems, is a habit that can take a significant toll on your mental and emotional well-being. The problem with rumination. Stoicism teaches us that constantly dwelling on what has already happened or anxiously anticipating what might occur does not serve us well. When we ruminate, we trap ourselves in a cycle of negative thoughts that lead to feelings of guilt, shame, and anxiety. We become fixated on things that are beyond our control, which contradicts the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within our power. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Why do we ruminate? Consider why you may find yourself revisiting certain memories or worrying about future scenarios. Are you searching for a solution, or is it a form of self-punishment? Does reflecting on a past mistake help you grow, or does it merely make you feel worse? What would a Stoic do in your situation? Stoicism encourages us to distinguish between what we can change and what we cannot. If the past is unchangeable and the future unknowable, then why not focus on the present moment, where your actions can truly make a difference? The Stoic approach to breaking free from rumination. To overcome rumination, practice mindfulness, which is also central to Stoic philosophy. Mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts without judgment, letting them pass through your mind like clouds in the sky. When you notice yourself drifting into rumination, gently bring your focus back to the present. Ask yourself, what can I do right now that would make a positive impact? This exercise trains the mind to stay grounded in the present and reduces the intensity of negative emotions. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of perspective. When confronted with a troubling thought, consider, will this matter in 5 years? Does this thought help me live a virtuous life? Shifting your perspective can alleviate the power that ruminative thoughts hold over you. Practical steps to eliminate rumination. Practice. Journaling. Write down your thoughts daily. This allows you to release them from your mind and see them more objectively on paper. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is itself a form of journaling where he reflected on his thoughts and the nature of life. Set a time limit for reflection. If there is a need to revisit a past event, allocate a specific time to think about it. When that time is up, move on to something productive. This habit helps to prevent excessive overthinking. Focus on what you can control, take action on what you can change, and let go of what you cannot. The Serenity Prayer beautifully encapsulates this Stoic wisdom. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. When you adopt these practices, you will begin to experience a greater sense of peace and freedom. Letting go of rumination paves the way for a more present and purposeful life. Next, we turn to another habit that undermines Stoic principles: the pursuit of external validation. 2. Seeking external validation. Find approval within yourself. Do you often find yourself yearning for others' approval? Do your self-worth and happiness seem to hinge on what others think of you? The need for external validation is a common habit, yet it goes against the core of Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes self-reliance and inner strength. The trap of external validation. When you rely on the approval of others to feel good about yourself, you place your sense of worth in the hands of factors beyond your control. This can lead to a life of insecurity, where your happiness becomes vulnerable to the opinions and judgments of others. The Stoics remind us that true contentment arises from within, not from the applause or criticism of the outside world. Epictetus advised, "If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own." Why seek validation from others when you can cultivate self-approval through virtuous living? Reflect on your motivations. Ask yourself, why do I seek the approval of others? What am I hoping to gain? Is the praise of others worth more than my inner peace? How would my life change if I stopped seeking external validation and instead focused on living in accordance with my values? Stoicism teaches that when we prioritize developing our character over seeking others' approval, we gain an unshakable sense of self-worth. The Stoic approach to cultivating inner approval. To overcome the habit of seeking external validation, begin by practicing self-acceptance and focusing on your virtues. Understand that your worth does not fluctuate with others' opinions. True power comes from knowing who you are and living with integrity. When you find approval within yourself, you become immune to the praise or blame of others. Practical steps to eliminate the need for external validation. Practice. Self-affirmation. Each day, remind yourself of your intrinsic worth and the virtues you are working to cultivate. Celebrate your progress rather than relying on external acknowledgement. Set personal standards. Live by your principles and values. Let your character be your measure, not the shifting opinions of others. Ask yourself, am I acting in accordance with my values? If the answer is yes, that should be sufficient. Limit social media use. Modern life can often exacerbate the habit of seeking external validation through social media. Consider taking breaks or limiting your exposure to situations where others' opinions can dominate your thoughts. When you shift your focus from seeking validation to cultivating inner approval, you liberate yourself from the control of others and find a deeper, more enduring happiness. Now, let's explore how to manage impulsivity and make decisions with greater wisdom. 3. Impulsivity. Cultivate deliberate decision-making. Do you find yourself acting on sudden desires or making decisions without careful thought? Impulsivity can often lead to regret, as choices made in the heat of the moment may not align with our long-term values and goals. In Stoic philosophy, impulsivity represents a lack of control over one's emotions and actions. The Stoics encourage us to cultivate a more deliberate and rational approach to decision-making, rooted in self-discipline and mindfulness. The problem with impulsivity. Impulsivity occurs when emotions cloud our judgment, causing us to act without considering the consequences. In contrast, Stoicism teaches us to detach from the immediate pull of emotions and approach situations objectively. Acting impulsively can create a cycle of poor decisions and missed opportunities for growth, leaving us frustrated and dissatisfied with our lives. As Marcus Aurelius noted, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This sentiment urges us to act thoughtfully and with purpose, rather than being swept away by fleeting urges. Reflect on the causes of impulsivity. What drives your impulsive behavior? Is it a desire for immediate gratification, a fear of missing out? Or perhaps it stems from a lack of clarity in your values and goals. By understanding the underlying motivations behind impulsivity, you can begin to address them. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do in this situation? How would I act if I were prioritizing my long-term well-being over short-term pleasure? The Stoic approach to overcoming impulsivity. To combat impulsivity, the Stoics teach us to slow down and practice reflection before acting. Deliberation helps us evaluate whether our desires align with our principles. By pausing and asking questions such as, "Is this action virtuous? Will it bring me closer to living a life of wisdom and tranquility?" you can make choices that better reflect your true aspirations. Practical steps to manage impulsivity. Practice. The pause technique. When you feel the urge to act impulsively, take a deep breath and pause for a moment. Use this time to evaluate the potential consequences of your actions. Consider whether your decision aligns with your long-term values. Set boundaries for tempting situations. If there are specific scenarios that frequently trigger impulsive behavior, create boundaries to reduce exposure. For example, if you tend to make impulsive purchases online, establish a waiting period before buying anything. Develop self-discipline. Self-discipline is a core aspect of Stoicism. Practice delaying gratification by setting small challenges for yourself, such as fasting for a day or abstaining from certain indulgences. This strengthens your willpower and helps you resist impulsive urges. Reflect on your progress. As you work on reducing impulsivity, take time to reflect on your growth. Are you finding it easier to make deliberate choices? How has this change affected other areas of your life? Remember, Stoicism emphasizes continuous progress over perfection. Even small improvements in managing impulsivity are steps toward living a life of greater wisdom and virtue. Next, we will explore how to address the desire for material wealth and possessions, another anti-Stoic behavior that distracts us from cultivating a life of true fulfillment. 4. Excessive materialism. Seek fulfillment beyond possessions. Are you often preoccupied with acquiring more wealth, possessions, or status symbols? Excessive materialism can lead to a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction, where the pursuit of external rewards overshadows the pursuit of inner growth. In Stoicism, true contentment is found not in accumulating material goods, but in cultivating virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. The illusion of material wealth. Stoicism teaches that wealth and possessions, while not inherently harmful, are not the ultimate sources of happiness. As Epictetus once said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The pursuit of material goods can create a false sense of security and distract us from what truly matters, our character and relationships. Reflect on your motivations for acquiring material wealth. Do you believe that more possessions will bring you happiness or respect? Are you using material goods to fill an inner void or to keep up with others? Consider what a Stoic might think. If material things are transient and impermanent, is it wise to base your sense of worth on them? The Stoic approach to reducing materialism. To overcome materialistic tendencies, the Stoics encourage us to adopt a minimalist approach, where we focus on experiences, relationships, and personal growth rather than material acquisitions. This does not mean rejecting all possessions, but rather cultivating an attitude of non-attachment. When we view material goods as tools or resources rather than as measures of success, we can let go of the obsession with accumulating more. Practical steps to overcome materialism. Reframe your perspective on value. Instead of placing value on external markers like wealth or status, prioritize inner qualities such as wisdom and virtue. Reflect on how these qualities contribute to a life of lasting fulfillment, in contrast to the fleeting nature of possessions. Simplify your lifestyle. Consider downsizing, decluttering, or living more frugally. The act of letting go of excess possessions can be liberating, allowing you to refocus your energy on meaningful pursuits. Practice gratitude. Regularly remind yourself of the things you already have and appreciate their value. Gratitude fosters contentment and diminishes the desire for more acquisitions. Reflect on the role of materialism in your life. How has the pursuit of material wealth affected your relationships, happiness, and personal growth? Are there areas where simplifying your life has brought unexpected joy? Remember that in Stoicism, less is often more when it comes to finding true contentment. Next, we will discuss the habit of complaining and how to channel our energy into more constructive actions instead. 5. Complaining. Shift from negativity to positive action. Do you often find yourself complaining about circumstances or expressing dissatisfaction with things that are beyond your control? Complaining can become a default response to adversity, but it rarely leads to meaningful solutions. In Stoic philosophy, complaining is considered a manifestation of frustration with the uncontrollable, and it keeps us focused on negativity instead of solutions. The problem with complaining. When we complain, we resist reality as it is, which only adds to our suffering. Marcus Aurelius advises us to accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs. This Stoic teaching encourages us to recognize that not everything is within our control, and that complaining does nothing to change what has already occurred. Reflect on why you complain. What do you hope to achieve when you voice a complaint? Is it to seek comfort, to vent frustration, or to incite change? How often do your complaints actually result in constructive action? When viewed through the lens of Stoicism, complaining can be seen as a distraction from the real work of improving oneself and one's circumstances. Instead of resisting what is, the Stoic approach is to focus on how you can adapt, respond, or learn from the situation. The Stoic approach to replacing complaints with actions, rather than complaining, channel your energy toward taking constructive action. Ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? What lesson can I learn from this difficulty? By shifting from a mindset of helplessness to one of empowerment, you gain a sense of control over your responses, even if you cannot change the situation itself. Practical steps to reduce complaining practice. Acceptance. Remind yourself that some things are simply out of your control. Instead of resisting these realities, embrace them as opportunities for growth and learning. Turn complaints into solutions. Each time you catch yourself complaining, ask, what can I do about this? If the answer is nothing, let go of the complaint. If there is something you can do, take immediate action. Cultivate a habit of gratitude. Focus on the positive aspects of your life and express gratitude for them. This practice helps shift your mindset from what is lacking to what is present and valuable. Reflect on your progress. As you reduce your tendency to complain, observe how this change affects your overall outlook on life. Are you finding more opportunities to grow? Is your energy being spent on actions that bring about real change? By letting go of complaints, you create space for positive growth and deeper satisfaction. 6. Seeking revenge. Break free from the cycle of vengeance. Do you often feel the need to retaliate when someone wrongs you? Seeking revenge may provide temporary satisfaction, but it ultimately perpetuates a cycle of negativity and harm. Stoicism teaches that vengeance is not a path to inner peace. Instead, focusing on forgiveness and self-improvement leads to true freedom from the chains of anger and resentment. The problem with seeking revenge. Revenge consumes mental and emotional energy that could be directed toward positive pursuits. It keeps us tied to past grievances, making it difficult to move forward. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius advised, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This means that by rising above the actions of others and not stooping to their level, we exhibit true strength of character. Reflect on the times when you have felt a strong desire for revenge. Did fulfilling that desire genuinely resolve the hurt or anger within you, or did it leave you feeling emptier? How often does seeking revenge escalate conflicts instead of resolving them? Consider how Stoicism offers a different approach, one that promotes healing over harm. The Stoic perspective on forgiveness. Forgiveness, from a Stoic standpoint, does not mean excusing wrongdoings or dismissing their impact. Instead, it involves letting go of the desire for retribution and choosing to focus on your own growth. When you forgive, you free yourself from the burden of carrying anger, resentment, or hatred. Forgiveness is not just a gift to the person being forgiven. It is also a powerful act of self-liberation. Epictetus reminds us that we should aim to be indifferent to insults and wrongdoings. These external events are beyond our control, and thus, they should not dictate our inner state. By focusing on cultivating virtue and letting go of vengeful impulses, we maintain our inner peace and composure. Practical steps to let go of revenge. Practice. Empathy. Try to understand the perspective of the person who wronged you. What might have led them to act the way they did? This does not excuse their behavior, but can help you see them as fallible human beings rather than as villains. Shift focus to self-improvement. Instead of dwelling on how to get back at someone, focus on how you can grow from the experience. What lessons can you learn that will make you stronger and wiser? Detach from the outcome. Understand that you cannot control how others treat you, only how you respond. By letting go of the need to retaliate, you reclaim your power to choose peace over conflict. Reflect on the impact of forgiveness. Consider how forgiving someone who has wronged you can transform your inner state. Does it feel liberating to release anger and resentment? Have you found that letting go of the desire for revenge has led to unexpected positive outcomes in your life? As you embrace this Stoic approach, notice how your relationships and emotional well-being improve. Next, let us address the fear of change and how embracing it can open doors to personal growth and opportunities. 7. Fear of change. Embrace the opportunity for growth. Are you often reluctant to step outside your comfort zone or resist changes in your life? The fear of change is natural, but it can also hold you back from realizing your full potential. Stoicism teaches that change is not only inevitable, but also a necessary part of life. By accepting and embracing change, we allow ourselves to grow and adapt to new circumstances. The problem with resisting change is a fundamental aspect of nature. As Heraclitus said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man." Stoicism echoes this understanding, encouraging us to accept that life is in a constant state of flux. Resisting change only creates stress and anxiety as we struggle against the natural flow of life. Instead of fearing change, we should view it as an opportunity to develop resilience and learn new skills. Reflect on the areas of your life where you resist change. Is it your career, relationships, or personal habits? What is the source of your reluctance? Does it come from a fear of failure, loss, or the unknown? A Stoic would ask, if change is an inevitable part of life, why not face it with courage and see it as an opportunity for self-improvement? The Stoic approach to embracing change. Stoicism encourages us to view change as an opportunity rather than a threat. The philosophy teaches us to be adaptable, to accept what comes with equanimity, and to use each new situation as a chance to practice virtue. By accepting change and learning to navigate it with grace, we become stronger and more resilient. After all, it is not the circumstances themselves that are difficult, but our perception of them. Practical steps to overcome the fear of change. Start small. Begin by making minor adjustments in your daily routine. Gradually introduce changes that challenge your comfort zone, such as trying new activities or meeting new people. Visualize positive outcomes. When faced with a change, imagine the potential benefits it could bring. What new opportunities might arise? How could this change improve your life? This shift in perspective can help reduce anxiety and motivate you to embrace the unknown. Focus on what you can control. Change often involves elements that are beyond your control. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our actions and responses rather than on the circumstances themselves. By concentrating on what you can control, you can better navigate the transition. Reflect on your growth through change. As you become more comfortable with embracing change, take note of how it affects your sense of self. Do you feel more confident and resilient? Have you discovered new aspects of yourself? Remember that change, though challenging, is an essential part of life's journey. By welcoming it with an open mind, you unlock your potential for continuous growth. Next, we will explore why worrying about trivial matters is a habit that does not serve us well, and how Stoicism can help us prioritize our focus. 8. Worrying about trivial matters. Focus on what truly matters. How often do you find yourself preoccupied with insignificant worries, such as minor inconveniences or others' opinions? Worrying about trivial matters is a common habit that diverts our attention from what truly contributes to a fulfilling life. In Stoicism, we are taught to focus on what is essential and let go of distractions that do not add value. The problem with worrying about trivial matters. When we become absorbed in trivial concerns, we waste time and energy that could be spent on more meaningful pursuits. This habit can stem from a desire to feel in control or from a tendency to magnify small problems. Marcus Aurelius advises us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By worrying about trivialities, we lose sight of this wisdom and allow our minds to be dominated by inconsequential distractions. Reflect on the things that often worry you. Are they matters that will still be significant a month or a year from now? Do these concerns align with your values and contribute to your long-term happiness? If not, why do you allow them to take up so much of your mental space? The Stoic approach to eliminating trivial worries. Stoicism encourages us to adopt a mindset where we filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters. This involves practicing discernment in our thoughts, recognizing which concerns deserve our attention and which are mere distractions. By prioritizing our time and energy on meaningful pursuits, we cultivate inner peace and a sense of purpose. Practical steps to stop worrying about trivial matters. Identify the source of your worries. Pay attention to what triggers your anxiety. Are these concerns related to things beyond your control, such as other people's opinions or events that have already occurred? If so, practice letting them go. Set boundaries for your time and attention. Limit your exposure to sources of trivial worries, such as social media, gossip, or negative news. Create space for reflection, mindfulness, and meaningful activities. Focus on long-term goals and values. Regularly remind yourself of your core values and long-term objectives. When faced with a worry, Ask yourself if it aligns with these priorities. If it does not, it is likely not worth your attention. Reflect on the shift in your focus. As you reduce the amount of time spent worrying about trivial matters, observe how this affects your mental and emotional state. Are you finding it easier to stay calm and focused? Do you feel more connected to your goals and values? By freeing your mind from unnecessary concerns, you can devote more energy to what truly matters. Next, we will discuss the habit of wasting time and how to make the most of our limited moments by living with intention. 9. Wasting time. Make every moment count. Do you often feel like time slips away from you without anything meaningful being accomplished? Time is a finite resource, and how we choose to spend it determines the quality of our lives. Stoicism teaches that time should be used wisely, as it is one of the most valuable assets we possess. As Seneca noted, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. The problem with wasting time. Wasting time often results from a lack of clear priorities or a tendency to procrastinate. We might fill our days with distractions, neglecting the activities that contribute to our personal growth or long-term goals. In doing so, we squander opportunities for fulfillment and progress. Reflect on how you use your time. Are you engaging in activities that enrich your life, or are you letting precious moments slip by without purpose? The Stoic approach to using time. Wisely, Stoicism encourages us to be intentional with our time by setting priorities and focusing on actions that align with our values. Living each day as if it were our last can help us make the most of every moment. When we approach time with this mindset, we become more deliberate in our choices, directing our efforts toward what truly matters. Practical steps to stop wasting time. Set daily priorities. At the start of each day, identify the most important tasks that will bring you closer to your goals. Focus on completing these tasks before moving on to less significant activities. Limit distractions. Identify the sources of time wasting in your life, such as excessive social media use, unnecessary meetings, or idle entertainment. Set boundaries to minimize these distractions. Reflect on how you spend your time. At the end of each day, review how you spent your time. Were your actions aligned with your priorities? If not, consider what changes you can make to use your time more effectively. Reflect on the impact of using time intentionally. Notice how being more deliberate with your time affects your sense of fulfillment and progress. Are you accomplishing more of what matters to you? Do you feel a greater sense of purpose? Remember, time is a gift, one that should not be taken for granted. 10. Looking for problems. Shift to a solution-oriented mindset. Do you often find yourself focusing on problems even when they are small or insignificant? While identifying issues is a necessary step toward improvement, dwelling on them can become a habit that fosters negativity and anxiety. Stoicism teaches us to adopt a proactive and solution-oriented mindset, focusing on what we can control and addressing challenges with resilience. The problem with constantly looking for problems. When we constantly search for problems, we put ourselves in a state of reactivity. We become overwhelmed by the sheer number of issues we perceive and may feel powerless to solve them all. This mindset can also lead to a pattern of negativity, where we focus more on what is wrong than on what is right. In Stoicism, we are encouraged to accept the reality of situations and then actively work toward improving them. The aim is not to ignore problems, but to approach them with a clear and rational perspective, seeking solutions rather than amplifying difficulties. Consider how often you find yourself focusing on problems rather than solutions. Does this habit help you resolve issues, or does it make them feel even more daunting? Stoicism invites us to see obstacles as opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The impediment to action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, challenges can be used as stepping stones for personal development. The Stoic approach to problem solving. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to confront problems with courage and reason. This involves acknowledging the reality of a situation, understanding what is within our control, and taking constructive action to address the issue. By shifting from a problem-focused mindset to a solution-oriented one, we empower ourselves to act effectively rather than passively complain or worry. Practical steps to stop looking for problems and start finding solutions. Reframe your perspective on challenges. Instead of seeing problems as negative experiences, view them as opportunities for growth. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? How can overcoming this challenge make me stronger? Focus on what you can control. When faced with a problem, identify the aspects you can influence and take action accordingly. Let go of concerns that are beyond your control, as worrying about them only drains your energy. Break down problems into smaller steps. Large problems can feel overwhelming, but breaking them down into smaller, manageable tasks can make them more approachable. Tackle each step one by one and celebrate your progress along the way. Reflect on the impact of a solution-oriented mindset. Notice how shifting your focus from problems to solutions affects your overall outlook on life. Are you finding more opportunities for growth and improvement? Do you feel more empowered to handle challenges as they arise? By adopting a proactive mindset, you will likely discover that many obstacles are not as insurmountable as they first appear. We have now explored 10 anti-Stoic behaviors that can hinder your personal growth and prevent you from living a life of fulfillment and wisdom. Each of these habits, rumination, seeking external validation, impulsivity, excessive materialism, complaining, seeking revenge, fearing change, worrying about trivial matters, wasting time, and looking for problems, represents a deviation from the path of Stoicism, which emphasizes living in accordance with nature, cultivating virtue, and focusing on what is within your control. The journey to eliminate these behaviors is not about achieving perfection, but about making continuous progress. Stoicism teaches that the pursuit of virtue is a lifelong endeavor, requiring consistent effort and reflection. By gradually replacing these harmful habits with practices that align with Stoic principles, you will foster inner peace, resilience, and a deeper sense of purpose. Now, I encourage you to take the first step toward implementing these changes in your life. Reflect on which habits resonate most with you and begin making small adjustments today. Leave a comment below, sharing which habit you plan to work on first, and let us know how you will apply Stoic principles to overcome it. Your insights may inspire others on their journey as well. If you found this content helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more discussions on Stoicism and personal growth. Share this video with anyone who might benefit from learning about these anti-Stoic behaviors. Together, we can cultivate a community of individuals dedicated to living with wisdom and tranquility. Thank you for watching, and may you continue to progress on your path to a more fulfilling life. Remember, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose thoughts that bring you closer to virtue, and you will find lasting contentment.